keep your eggs there after you have gathered it from the layers. You put it there. You collect egg inside and you store your eggs in the egg trays or crate. Then we have what we call roost or perch. Roost or perch is used for resting and sleeping upon by the birds. Then broom to sweep off waste, to clear the poultry house. Then we have shovel. Shovel is used in removing poultry waste rather than using your broom alone. So you use shovel to just carry the waste and you can directly apply it on your farmland. So shovel is good for that. Then wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow is used in carrying waste, carrying your feed, carrying whatever you want to carry to the poultry or away from there. You can even carry your eggs in the wheelbarrow. So those are the equipment used in poultry and their uses. Now we'll be looking at the system of poultry management. The system of poultry management is the extent to which birds are exposed to sunshine, pasture, and their housing pattern. That's what we mean by system of poultry management. The extent to which birds are exposed to sunlight, 1, pasture, 2, then their housing pattern. So those are the 3 things that we consider under the system of poultry management. And then we have 3 systems of poultry management. 3 systems of poultry management. We have the extensive system, we have the semi-intensive system, then the intensive system. So those are the 3 systems of poultry management: extensive, intensive, then the semi-intensive. Now, the extensive system is a system in which the domestic fowls are allowed to roam about in search of food and water. The fowls are just left on their own. They roam about, go to anywhere they want to search for their food and their water. In this system, there is no proper housing, care, and feeding for the birds. Just get chicks from wherever you want to buy it. Just bring them, just leave them, and they go on their own searching for food, water, and shelter. Then unlimited grassland is available to the birds. Then under the system, the capital investment is very small because you just need to bring the chicks. You don't really have to do anything, just leave them. They fend for themselves. Then the birds population per hectare of land is minimal. Then their production is low because they are not properly kept for, you don't know, they may not have enough to eat, so their production is low. Then use of technology is limited. This extensive system, a good example is the free range system. Free range, just the same thing that happens under the extensive system. So sometimes you call it free range system or the extensive system. Then what advantages and disadvantages does this free range or extensive system have? The advantages: initial capital requirements is very small, then is most suitable for the management, for breeding stock. Also, the labor involvement is very small. You don't have to really do anything. Just get the chicks and let them just go around, fend for themselves. Then it minimizes the incidence of ectoparasites. Since they are not on a place, they just move around. Then the fowls get vitamins and minerals from the grasses they feed on. You're not supplying them with any multivitamin, you're not supplying them with anything. They get their vitamins and minerals from grasses and what they feed on. Now, disadvantages. What disadvantage does free range or extensive system have? It requires large labor force to collect the eggs. For instance, their layers, just throw them there, they eat whatever they like. They lay the eggs wherever they like too. So you have to be looking for their eggs in corners, in bushes, anywhere. So the labor, it requires large labor to collect their eggs. Then it exposes the birds to extreme weather conditions. Maybe the sun is so harsh, there is rainfall, there is flood, whatever. The animals, the birds are at the mercy of whatever weather condition comes up. Then there is economic losses through predators, thieves, and laying of eggs in bushes. The farmer has a great loss because predators can come on them and destroy the animal or their egg. Then thieves can even steal the chicken or their eggs. So that's a loss on the part of the farmer. Then they can even lay the eggs in bushes that you will never reach, and that's a waste too. Then And the last disadvantage of free range or extensive system is that there is lack of land management. The land is not properly managed because you just throw the chicken into the farm, they just go on their own. So you don't properly manage the land. Now, the second system of poultry management is the semi-intensive system. This is the midway between the intensive and the extensive system. In this situation, the birds are housed in a fixed building, but they are allowed to move about within a fenced area during the day. They are not just left in the bush on their own. They are housed somewhere, but they are allowed to move out. So maybe at night they gather them back. So they have a sense of care, more advanced than what we have in the extensive system. So their buildings are made up of wood and are raised above the ground with wire netting on the floor to permit easy dropping of feces. An example of the semi-intensive system is a fold unit system. An example is a fold unit system. So what advantages and disadvantages does the fold unit system or the semi-intensive system have? First, the advantages. The birds have access to natural vegetation which provides vitamin and minerals. So since they are left to go out, they have access to that. The neighbor is not needed locking up the birds at night. They just come in, since they have been trained to do that at night. Once the weather is going to pass 6 to 7, you see them coming back to their house on their own. Then the system is useful for all ages of birds and all kinds of birds. The semi-intensive system is useful for all ages and kinds of birds. Then the birds are kept in small groups and calling is made easier. You want to keep anyone, you can easily get it because they are in a small group. Then protection against adverse weather. They have protection. Once there is rain or the weather is harsh, if there is wind or something, they can quickly run to their shelter. Then outbreak of any infectious disease is easier to isolate and handle. Since they are not so much, then you see them, you can easily isolate the one that is infected and treat it or kill it, separate it from others so that it doesn't affect the rest. Now, the disadvantages of the fold unit system or the semi-intensive system include: one, high cost per house compared to the free range system. In free range system, you don't house them, just throw them. Anywhere they look for places to sleep at night. But in this case, you have to incur some cost in building houses for them. Then it also leads to high cost of feeding the birds. You have to feed them, even though they go out to feed, but you still feed them, even though it may not be very intensive feeding, but you have to provide feeding for them to an extent. Then in this stage, there is also low egg production. Since you don't feed them correctly, strongly, then their production will be low. Then vices such as feather picking, egg eating, and cannibalism may occur. You keep them together, go out, come in, so they may start to pick on their feathers, like they are fighting. Then they can eat their eggs and kill one another to feed on their flesh. So those are the vices that can occur in their midst. The third system of poultry management is an intensive system, and in this system, the birds are confined within the building and are not allowed to move out at all. They are there 24/7. Then this system prevents the birds from having access to pasture and sunshine. Also, there is high stocking density, which implies a closer contact among birds. Because they stock them together, they have close interaction, and they are stocked together. Then feed, water, and all medications are provided for the birds. So as a farmer engaging in intensive system of poultry management, you have to provide their feed, their water, medications, everything they need is on you. That's what the system is all about. Then examples of the intensive system, we have the deep litter system. Then the second one is the battery cage system. Now we're talking about the deep litter house, the features of the deep litter house. The floor of the house is made of concrete, the walls of sandcrete, mud, zinc, and usually about 60 centimeters. The roof is made up of asbestos sheets, corrugated iron sheets, or it is thatched. So whichever one you choose as your money can afford. Then the space between the walls and the roof is covered with wire nettings for good ventilation. The floor is uniformly covered with wood shavings to serve as a litter for absorbing poultry droppings. So in this case, that's why we call it the deep litter house. There is wood shavings on the floor, or so that they will absorb poultry droppings. Then there is poultry sets such as feeding and drinking troughs. They are placed at convenient places, either on the floor for the young chicks or on raised platform for older birds inside the pen. The sunshine and wind direction, that's east-west direction, is normally considered in siting the deep litter house. You have to consider direction of sunshine and wind, that's the east-west direction, before you site your deep litter house. Then gutter with insecticide treated water around the house are always provided to prevent the attack of soldier ants. If soldier ants attack your bed, forget about it, and you don't come on time, they can destroy the whole farm. So